Welcome back, everyone. We're here with another show, a Q&A. Anything that I say is not meant to diagnose or replace your medical care. Check with your doctor before implementing any of the suggestions. Steve, over to you. Let's get started.
All right, let's do it. How about we start off from my thumpy desk with Monique, and she's calling in from Facebook. Where can I find the natural B1?
I'm not biased of my own, but of course I do sell one, but that's not the only one. You would want to find something with, it's called allithiamine. That's the name. It's from garlic. It's in a base of all the B vitamins, so that way you're not just taking it as a single entity. But anyway, that's one place you can get it.
Very good. Flora from Facebook. What advice would you have for someone with the dreaded Crohn's disease?
That is an inflammatory gut issue, in which case you may want to try the carnivore diet. That way we can reduce anything that can create more inflammation, including fiber, plant foods. And meat is loaded with glutamine. That's a great healer for the gut, and a lot of people will get major relief by doing that.
Okay, how about Annalira Cohn from good old YouTube? With type 1 diabetes, Hashimoto's, and autoimmune and hepatitis, I am intermittent faster and modified keto. All suggestions for modifying keto and taking care of fatty liver appreciated. Poor thing is just inundated with issues.
Yeah, when the immune system becomes dysfunctional, it starts to attack your own tissues. And a lot of people don't just have one autoimmune, they have several, like you. In which case, I would highly recommend researching Dr. Coimbre's protocol of using high doses of vitamin D3. There are quite a few doctors that have been trained by him around the world that you can consult to do this properly. But yeah, so you want to bring your range into a higher level of vitamin D to the point where your immune system can start working again. His success level is pretty darn high. That's what I would do if I were you.
All right, very good. I'm sure that is sound counsel. Stony Wilkins, where can I get chlorophyll pearls? I've never heard of that. Have you?
Standard Process has a great chlorophyll pearl. You could look them up and try to find that online.
All right, very good. Ripping through them. Overton Owens, will people on a carnivore diet eventually need carbamide for healthy urinary function?
We don't know. We don't know. There's a lot of people thriving on the carnivore. So long term, we don't know. And it's like time will tell.
Yeah. Time will
But
tell.
I want to say one thing about that, Steve, because they'll say it for the carnivore and the regular ketogenic diet. Well, yes, it does help you lose weight in the short term, but long term, we don't know. So, are you sure you should be doing this? A little doubt in someone's mind can discourage them from doing it. I mean, if something produces so much good initially, and then what? It's all of a sudden going to possibly create so much damage. This is just speculation. It's just speculation. So it's just a way to discourage people, because think about what is at stake. Junk food.
Yeah, exactly. So go back to Lucky Charms to make sure that you stay on a nice steady path. Okay, Olive Hazel. If you have to choose between pasture-raised eggs, non-organic, or just organic eggs, which is best? And that's interesting that she puts pasture-raised and non-organic in the same sort of phrase. What does that all mean?
Unfortunately, these definitions are very gray and muddy, because pasture-raised, what does it actually mean? How much time outside? Or is it just a hole in the barn that they get to leave if they want? And do they actually hit grass? Or is it cement? It's all unknown. At least with organic, you're dealing with grains that don't have pesticides, like glyphosate. So I would go with the organic. But, pasture-raised organic would be best. But of course, there's one better version of that. Just raise your own chickens. I do. And so that way I can control everything.
I know, it's so cute. They follow me around. A few great times I've had at your farm, a pleasure. They all follow me around like little kittens. It's hilarious. And they're eating little bugs and having a blast. So anyway, I'm sure their eggs are delicious. And by the way, Dr. Berg, so if we just go pick up a carton of eggs at the local supermarket, I mean, they're still good for us, right? I mean, I doubt unless,
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally fine. I don't want to like get into like you can't eat anything. Of course, like go for it. You're still going to get a good amount of protein, nutrition. So get what you can. There's always just levels of improvement if you wanted to do that.
All right. Well, I'm going to follow your chickens around with a basket and do it right. What would you recommend for eye floaters, the dreaded eye floaters?
That's usually pieces of protein that are floating around. And one best way to deal with that is go get your body through autophagy. Autophagy is a condition where your body is eating up these damaged proteins in the cells, in the tissues, and then recycling them for fuel and raw materials. So what's the best trigger for autophagy is fasting, prolonged fasting. So a lot of people who I've noticed who have done fasting reported less eye floaters. I can't tell you the number on that, but it's worth a try.
All right, very good. Basid chimed in. Raising chickens, best move I've made in a long time. Good for you, Basid. I'm sure they're delicious. Let's see. Marcia, important, she says in asterisk. Can citrus bergamot 200 or 300 be taken for cholesterol if I'm taking Eliquis 5 milligrams a day, I guess a blood thinner, 12 hours apart? Statins give me leg pains, etc. It's a big question.
Yeah, I can just see if I answer this question. Oh, yeah, Dr. Berg is telling people to get off the medications. So check with the doc that actually is open to different things. That's more of a holistic doctor to be able to regulate that, especially when you get into statins, even though, because these statins block cholesterol. I mean, you need cholesterol to build all of your sex hormones, and blocking that, what is the actual benefit in real terms? If you actually research that, you'd find it's not as much as you think, especially if you weigh in the risks.
All right, very good. Let's go again on YouTube, or maybe it was Facebook last time. What do you eat for omega if you are allergic to seafood?
They do have, I don't like it, but they have algae omega-3 fatty acids. That's a tough one. If you do organ meats, you might get, grass-fed, grass-finished organ meats, you might get some omega-3. So it's definitely a situation where maybe you want to try some higher quality, like cod liver or cod liver oil, and see if you actually are allergic to that, or is it just maybe some reaction from the mercury in some other fish? I don't know. So, but it's a difficult problem because the omega-3s typically come from seafood.
All right, very good. Let's go to, I can't even pronounce the name, WHM something tick. Can too much vitamin D affect the heart?
So out of all the compounds that were tested for the inside layer, the endometrial layer of the vascular system that supplies the heart muscle, coronary, vitamin D was found to be the most potent stimulus of nitric oxide, which basically is wonderful for blood pressure, wonderful for an antioxidant protection. And because so many people are resistant to the vitamin D, they're going to need more vitamin D. Now, all of the risks of high doses of vitamin D3 that I've heard about relate to the kidney stones, because it could produce some high doses of calcium in the blood. But there's so many ways to mitigate that by drinking 2.5 liters of water a day, taking magnesium. I think this is an exaggerated problem, because the studies that I saw, you literally have to take hundreds of thousands of vitamin D international units of vitamin D3 for months before there's a problem. So when some people say, oh my goodness, you're taking 8,000 to 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3, that's equivalent to literally 20 minutes in the sun. And you're telling me that's toxic? So again, this is a perfect way to discourage people from taking something that could really help you.
Yeah, it's too bad they don't sort of come up with a better means of measure, because they all sound threatening when it's 10,000 or 20, but it might be 1
Well, I think that
milligram
was
or
done
something.
intentionally. If you look at the history of international units, there's a fascinating connection between Rockefellers and they started an organization that then changed the international units. There's theories. I can't prove it, but it's like an interesting thing in the background of with just the international units are not a measurement of weight or mass. It's an arbitrary number. I mean, what? That's crazy. So yeah, I think they need to go back to micrograms or milligrams.
I think you're onto something there. Okay, let's go with our first quiz question of the day for our astute audience, and there it is.
What is the most scientifically validated benefit for clove?
Interesting. All sorts of fun things to nibble on out there. Let's go back to YouTube. Caroline Floors, Rumble, is black seed oil or olive oil better to drink for digestion?
Well, black seed oil is a little bit better because it's like one of those, it has so many benefits across the board. It's like a wide spectrum of benefits and digestion is one. I don't know if olive oil is the best thing for digestion. I know it's not going to hurt. It's good for other things. But for digestion, I would do the black seed oil. And I mean, it's interesting. It's been used for thousands of years, okay? But then all of a sudden, when we have these patented drugs, now it's considered something potentially dangerous or, folk medicine, that type of thing. You have to just see through that. It's just ridiculous. It's like the drugs work on like inhibiting or stimulating an enzyme, a single mode of action normally, but there's a lot of cross phytonutrients that drugs are based on that have multiple modes of mechanistic reasons why they work. So those are just completely downplayed. Maybe they're not as intense, but they're more complex. And there's one really huge advantage of doing more of the natural version is that the side effects go down to almost zero. So of course, you're going to have a lot of people disagree with me because they're pro-drug, and that's fine. But I think most people that are rational can actually see, oh yeah, something natural, it might be better if the studies show that it can actually benefit someone.
All right. Let's see. Kanam Pang with an interesting question from Thailand. Cold-pressed coconut oil and rice bran oil is considered better. Is it considered a better alternative for seed oil here? What are your thoughts?
I don't know about the rice bran oil. Depends on how processed it is. Did they say coconut oil too?
They said cold-pressed coconut oil.
Yeah, that's definitely better. You also have avocado oil, which is not a seed oil. They take the oil from the pulp, not the seed. So the seed oils that are mainly dangerous are the highly processed corn, canola, soy, cottonseed oil, even safflower, sunflower, highly processed, creating oxidative stress, high in omega-6, inflammatory.
Okay. Nicola Jack asks, am I allowed to say that? That's his handle. Naughty man from YouTube. My friend has pelvic floor dysfunction, induced chronic prostatitis. What would you recommend for this? His dietitians and physicians and therapists are failing him. Thanks, Dr. Berg. Appreciate you.
I would go back to, instead of a specific remedy, I would go back to looking at lifestyle changes, including the diet. What are you eating? Are you eating things to help reduce inflammation? Are you high on the carbs, seed oils, things like that? and clean all that up first. There's a lot of remedies that can help inflame prostate, but those don't typically work unless the diet is corrected. So again, the whole lifestyle connection should be addressed first before anything else.
All right, very good. Let's go to Tiozan from Facebook. What's a good remedy for hypothyroidism?
This brings up something related to the last question. When you go to the doctor, what they're going to do is they're going to try to diagnose you, right? And they're going to find this certain problem, and then they're going to treat you. What is missing is to back up and go, okay, how did you get to that problem in the first place? Should we deal with that? How much of lifestyle is connected with that? They don't get into that, unfortunately. There's probably not enough time and there's not enough knowledge behind these things to connect the dots. So you get treated, you treat your Hashimoto's, or if it's just not an autoimmune, you just treat your hypothyroid, and then you cross your fingers. But most low thyroid is autoimmune Hashimoto's, in which case you need to avoid gluten and you need to do higher doses of vitamin D3. The Coimbra protocol, I would look into that. You may find some promising results that can help you.
All right, very good. Well, audience, I know you've noticed, and I just can't help but mention it, but Dr. Berg has suddenly been affected with an immediate case of alopecia as his beard has fallen off from his face. But it's a great look, and you can sport a beard or not. So anyway, I just want to acknowledge that. You look great, and your beard is gone. All right, let's move on with the show.
My beard is gone.
Yeah, it is. Okay, MNMZ, mom from YouTube, you can discuss can you discuss the benefits of colloidal silver, both externally and internally?
Now, if I discuss the benefits, they will take this video down.
Really?
They went through YouTube went through all my videos with colloidal silver, and they just kept taking them down one after another. So I put them all up on Rumble. So just look on go on Rumble and search them, but I cannot speak about that term. I'm sorry. It's interesting. I don't know why they targeted that remedy, but they did. So there you go.
All right, rumble.com, everybody, and we've got a nice presence over there, and we appreciate everyone watching from Rumble, and of course YouTube and Facebook. Let's see, Nahid from YouTube, I have osteopenia. I have been taking injections of Prolia. Could I stop? I'm sorry, I'm setting you up with all these questions, Doc. Could I stop the injections by taking high doses of D3 with K2? Thank you for your opinion.
Yeah, that would be practicing medicine without a license. So I can't tell you how to treat this and stopping medication, but I can guide you to more research in certain areas. For example, there's some studies that you can search out in Japan that use higher doses of vitamin K2 with D3. And most K2 is sold in microgram amounts, but you want to find one, there's only a few out there, in milligram, like 40 to 45 milligrams in K2, and start taking that with vitamin D3 because what K2 does is it stimulates the bones to become solid. What osteoporosis is a loss of bone mass. So we need to stimulate that. What stimulates that? K2, and vitamin D helps. So and also I would also look at taking trace minerals too, because there's a lot of cofactors like boron, like zinc, like magnesium, which is not a trace mineral, but these are all really key in osteoporosis. It's going to take some time. It could take literally 7 years before you get that back. It's not a light thing, but this is the area that I would research. Yeah.
All right, very good. Well, there's no risk in censorship of bringing up one of our great guests. Our first one today is named Carl. And Carl, I'm going to switch on your audio, and he's going to ask us one question in 30 seconds, but he's relieved to know that you're going to fully interrogate him to give him all the great answers. Carl, you're on with Dr. Berg. Go ahead with your question, sir.
Hello there, Dr. Berg. My name is Carl, and I'm asking a question for my wife, who has iron deficiency anemia, low iron deficiency anemia, and she's been doing the keto diet, actually the ketovore diet for over 2 years now. The diet is high in red meat, high in liver, high in all of the stuff that we need to eat, right? Protein and all of that. Also white meats and everything, and yet her platelet count is going drastically low. Last year it was 105, and now it actually went down to 73. And so we're really worried about that, and we are scheduled to see a hematologist on Monday, but we don't know what to expect. She has been also taking her supplements, her iron supplements, the zinc supplements, but the platelet count is still very low, whereas the rest of the blood type things, everything is considered within the normal range. So we don't know
So,
what to
so what
expect or what to do next.
what is their ferritin levels? Are ferritins normal or high?
They're normal from what I saw.
Okay. So I would do some research in the area of the trace mineral copper. If
Okay.
someone is deficient in copper, what happens with iron is they can become either anemic or they can have iron
Hmm.
overload because
Hmm.
copper is kind of like the controlling factor with iron. And
Hmm.
that could be the simple solution. There's some great data. You could dig into that. But copper allows the utilization of iron and the protection against excessive iron. And by the way, when people have iron overload, they're also anemic at the same time. So these are just things that you may want to research, and I would just point you in that direction because you're probably not going to get that answer when you talk to the hematologist. But I just want you to
Right.
look at both sides.
Hmm. Cool. Sounds
That's
good.
great.
Will
Well,
do.
listen, Carl, we were really
Yeah.
pulling for you and your wife, and she seems to be so dedicated to doing things to keep her healthy. We'd love to hear
Right.
back from you with a great success. Hopefully, Copper or
For sure.
some knowledgeable person will get her back on track. So, thanks for a great call, Carl. Let's go to, and Carl, this is for you too, because I know you're watching. Quiz question number one asks, what is the most scientifically validated benefit for clove? And 30% of our respondents say heart health, 50% say mouth and gut, and then 20% say, and we just talked about this, hypothyroidism. Doc, is there a
So
group? Go ahead.
yeah, so clove is there's quite a bit of research on clove with a lot of different things, but the heaviest research relates to getting rid of a toothache, believe it
Huh.
or not. Yeah. So when you have a toothache, you can chew your clove and just at least get relief until you find the cause of your tooth pain.
Wow. All right, group. Well, I don't want to disparage your not having gas tooth, but you've got four more chances to do it. And here's the next
Okay, what is the best diet for OCD?
one. Ugh, boy. A lot of people are
Obsessive
going to have
compulsive.
their ears perked up for that. My my daughter grew up with OCD, and her hateful brother would go up to her and tap her on the head and say, short, 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 because she was a little short and just torture. Just typical big brother nonsense. It's just absolutely awful. All right, let's see. Let's go back to social media. Mario from YouTube, as you recommend various vitamins and supplements, you are aware most, if not all, are not regulated by the FDA. How can I identify and purchase reliable, high quality supplements? Thank you. And that's a great question. Unless you're, and I'm biased too, I'll go to Dr. Berg's site and have great confidence. But, when we go into the local, you know, uh, pharmacist, what do we do?
Thank goodness they're not regulated by the FDA because the FDA has become kind of captured by big pharma. I mean, let's just flip that for a second. Does the FDA regulate drugs and drug research? Yeah, but here's the problem. All the raw data that Big Pharma does on their drugs, that data is withheld. Relating to Big Pharma funded research on drugs, 83% of all the research is unpublished. So if a drug study doesn't turn out like they want it, they don't have to publish it. This creates publication bias. This creates the situation where a drug is totally safe and effective, and then all of a sudden it becomes the most deadly thing in the world, like Vioxx killed 60,000 people. So when people say, well, I wish vitamins were regulated by the FDA, first of all, that would be a disaster. And the challenge with vitamins is that there is a concern with, because every marketer is selling vitamins nowadays, and you don't really know. And also a lot of big pharma and chemical companies sell vitamins. And so I think it's important to look at who's selling that vitamin and know that entity, see what they're like, get their viewpoints. Are they going for the cheapest vitamin? Like a lot of companies have fillers and stuff like that. Some people criticize me for selling vitamins. I'm like, well, okay, would you rather have some big pharma sell you a vitamin or a marketer that you don't even know who they are? At the very least, the formulas that I have don't have hidden maltodextrin, and they keep getting refined because I'm really in contact with the consumer to make sure we can optimize the quality of that and the effectiveness. So anyway, that's my answer.
Wow. Well, we do this every week for a reason. We have a planetary audience that sets aside all our various little snippy differences and joins arms in becoming healthy and vibrant humans, and it's worth noting. So let's start off with the people. We'd like to say a good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are, from Puerto Rico, UK, Vietnam, South Africa, Switzerland, Zambia, Australia, India, Scotland, Kenya, Eritrea, Iceland, Macedonia, Canada, Romania, Germany, Poland, Nigeria, Philippines, Tanzania, Finland, Serbia, Thailand. Got a little late start on that this morning. So the rest of you that would like to chime in, we would be glad to acknowledge that you're joining us on a worldwide quest for better health and so on. And in my case, better mood. Boy, this eating well certainly pays a dividend in terms of our psychiatric interests too. So let's go back to our questions. And this time, Jolie from YouTube, any advice for someone with achy knees? She has measles.
Yeah, I think what I would do is I would really, first of all, look at the seed oils and in your diet. Make sure you up the omega-3 fatty acids, maybe with a good cod liver oil or more salmon or sardines, because that will help inflammation in the knee. Sometimes it could be oxalates. Sometimes, like if you're doing almonds, chocolate, kiwi, spinach, that could be a problem. Also could be an old injury. As far as an antidote, there are people that have gotten good success with rooster comb, which is that little red thing on the top of the head. You can get it as a supplement. Apparently that's like the absolute best collagen. They used to inject it into the knee, but people take it orally too with some benefit, with more collagen. So these are just things. And lastly, Ben Patrick has a great exercise where you're exercising, walking backwards, pulling a sled. That seems to greatly strengthen weak knees because, Steve, what percentage of the time are you walking forward versus backwards?
You mean in the easy chair? No, I'm afraid I'm always walking forward. Yes.
Right. Do you ever walk backwards? Ever?
If there's a big guy threatening me, yes, quickly.
So we don't walk backwards. So we have this situation where we can create more imbalances with our legs. So when you walk backwards, apparently it takes a lot of stress off the knee, and you can strengthen different muscles to stabilize the knee. So you might want to try that. Just if you're walking backwards in public, just don't mention my name at the same time.
Yeah, it does look a little odd, but I've seen it happen. Okay, let's go to quiz question number 2 today. And our audiences always has an opinion, and it asks, what is the best diet for OCD, which is really a pesky thing? Carnivore, 30%, keto, 42%, no gluten or dairy comes in at 10%. Let's see, avoid sugar, 15%. And finally, good old green leafy vegetables is claiming 3%. Are they onto something, doctor?
From what I've observed, the lower you can get your carbs, the deeper ketosis in the brain. Just realize any brain problem that you have can be benefited by ketones. Now, people will tell you the brain runs on glucose. That's the primary fuel. No, it's not. The plan A, that's a plan B. Plan A is actually ketones. If you just look at our genes, in the Stone Age time, how have our genes developed? Did we have glucose available 24/7? Were we able to avoid or order a pizza from Pizza Hut in the middle of the night, Steve? I don't think so. So those carbs were available seasonally, but not all year round. And so when you start feeding your brain ketones, all sorts of things clear up. And I'm talking bipolar, anxiety, depression, and definitely OCD. So try it and just see for yourself. It will work. I'll give you a guarantee on that.
There you go. And you also mentioned that we have evolved many of these fruits, like apple used to be sour. This probably didn't have near the fructose content that it does today. So they may not have really been so fond of blueberries back then.
No, probably just honey here and there, but it doesn't even compare to nowadays. So what happens is all we're trying to do, Steve, it's very simple. We're just trying to match our modern day life with how these bodies were developed from a time in the past. All we're trying to do is do that. And if you look at it from that viewpoint, you can keep the person out of trouble. You get more sun, walking through nature, a lot of physical activity, whole foods, intermittent fasting, which is one of the most powerful things, because I know this might be hard to believe, but there were probably periods of time where we didn't eat very frequently. So when we go back to that, our genes have developed in such a way to stimulate survival, stimulate improvement, repair as a protective mechanism. So it just kind of sheds a light on how to improve our bodies, going back, just looking back and comparing and see what's missing.
All right. Very interesting. Ann Mead, what has been, and she's speaking personally to you, doctor, what has been your hardest health problem to beat?
Mine is on my genetics. I have genes that are heavy on the inflammatory genes. The good thing about that is it kind of protects you against cancer, but you're also susceptible to inflammation in the joints all over the place. So and this is what happened in the past. I did not eat healthy, and I was just one big ball of inflammation in my hands and my back, everything. So inflammation is my weak link. But if I don't eat that, I don't get inflamed. So that's very motivating. But also, if I overtrain, because I love to do hardcore exercise, I thrive on it. But if I overtrain, I'm sore for a lot longer. And recently, Steve, I'll tell you what happened. I've been kind of doing videos and promoting hypoxia training. So you're exercising, restricting your oxygen. It's amazing. It's amazing. You'll breathe better. You'll increase your oxygen carrying capacity. But someone that's educating me on this said, don't overdo it because you'll detoxify. And I said, yeah, right. No, I think you're just making that up. That's not true. Because what you're doing when you shut the oxygen down with this mask, when you're exercising, you're creating a opening up of your cells. And if there's toxins in there, it can come out and create an immune reaction. So 2 days ago, bam, I wake up, I'm like, what the heck? All my joints are achy. And you can see my voice is a little bit deeper. I don't have like an immune, like an infection. It's just immune reaction that it's just like, okay, I overdid it. This is why I'm a human guinea pig. So the smartest thing to do is to listen to coaches and do it very slow over a long period of time. And don't try to overtrain. And that's been my mistake.
Wow. Well, that's a fascinating outcome. But you're onto something, for goodness sakes. That's for sure.
I am onto something. Not sure what it is, but.
Let's see. So Salcrum from YouTube, could you offer an opinion on the impact of a low glycemic index for seizures in adults?
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. You want to keep, you want to, again, this is the brain problem, and you want to get the person into deep ketosis. Now, the type of keto diet that is recommended for seizures are basically not just low carb, but higher amounts of fat versus protein. Because now we're just like, you are just turning that fat into ketones 24/7. What's interesting is that when you eat protein, the question is, does that turn into fuel or does it replace your body tissue? Well, primarily it's replacing the body tissue, but some of that can be converted to energy and fuel. But typically, the fuel comes from the fat and the carbs. So when people do like really low fat protein, they're not going to do well for a long period of time. So this is why in carnivore, you don't want to go lean protein. You want to go fatty protein, just to be safe, because we need that extra fat for various things.
All right, very good. Let's go with quiz question number 3 for the day, and there you have it.
True or false? Every childhood vaccine has been tested for safety.
Yay! Okay, audience, true or false? Is that correct or not? Soraka from YouTube. I get muscle cramps regularly, even though I drink plenty of water and trace minerals and coconut water. What is Soraka missing?
Magnesium.
Interesting.
Some people to fix magnesium is really hard to test because 99% of it is inside the cell. It's not in the blood. So you have 1% in the blood. So if you do a blood test, it's not going to really show up that much unless you're really, really deficient. But a lot of people just don't get enough magnesium, including myself. So sometimes it takes higher amounts over a long period of time to fix that problem. I actually used to have toe cramps in Charlie horses in the middle of the night, and it was driving me crazy. And it took a lot of magnesium over a long period of time. I'm talking 600 milligrams of magnesium glycinate over weeks and a few months before they got under control. So this magnesium is a really key thing. I will say too, if you, there's another little thing in your muscles called the sodium-potassium pump. So if you're deficient in sodium or potassium, you can also have a cramp. So you need all those electrolytes, sea salt, but typically a lack of sodium will cause higher cortisol, weaker muscles, and fatigue. But magnesium is more of the muscle cramp.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to fix your little thing here. And then I'm going to bring up a nice lady from Anaheim, California, my own old stomping grounds. And her name is Faith. And Faith, go ahead with your one question for Dr. Berg.
Good morning, Dr. Berg. Thank you so much. You helped me so much in the year 2023. So now the second time, I asked for my mother. She's 83 years old. She have diabetes, diabetic ketoacidosis, DKA, Alzheimer, dementia, incontinence, burning eyes, sometimes have high blood pressure. She's very thin, very skinny, only skin and bone due to the statin that she took for decades. So now she needs insulin injection. I let her take some of your supplement like cod liver oil, wheatgrass juice, green superfood, B1 electrolyte. How to help her? Thank you so much, Dr. Berg. Thank you.
Yeah, this is we could spend an hour on this, but I'm just going to give you a couple tips. When you have ketoacidosis, then we have this out of control blood sugar where we're becoming, it's type 1 diabetes is creating a lot of acid. So what I would focus on even more than the supplements right now, you're smart taking B1 because that actually helps to reduce lactic acidosis. However, I think the diet, if you think about when you need insulin, means the pancreas is just like, it's not working. The cells of the pancreas are not producing insulin. And so now the blood sugars are going too high. So if the blood sugars are going too high, wouldn't it make the most common sense to avoid any and all sugars? I think it does make that sense. So that's what I would do as the primary thing. And that way, at least we're not adding to the problem. I think also magnesium would be a good nutrient as well, because it's involved in so many different parts of that mitochondria that's so important. That's involved in these conditions, and definitely more vitamin D or more sun outside. But get back to the basics with the diet. Cut out any and all sugar and starches right now, and then make sure the food is very high quality, because we're dealing with a lot of breakdown of body tissue. And I think that would be probably the smartest thing to go into. And then try to, do maybe 2 or 1 meal a day.
Yeah, so I like that for her, but the thing is she's very thin, very, very skinny. So I think that's
Yeah.
not a good candidate for fasting. So I
Okay.
focus
Yeah.
on sub. Yeah. How about
Yeah.
niacin, breninolone, melatonin, MCT oil, ketone salt, DHEA, and the doses?
These are all things you can add. I don't know if they're the most important things, but I will say that she's very, very thin. This is what happens in a diabetic type 1. It goes after muscle protein. So probably just 3 meals a day, sufficient calories without snacking. High quality protein from animal meats and fish for sure. And I think these other things are fine, but I wouldn't necessarily. There's certain things that are more important than others, so I don't want to overload her. But thanks for that extra piece of information.
Yeah, and thank you, Faith, for a great call. We appreciate it and wish your mom, I think you said, all the best. Okay, let's go to quiz question number 3 for the day. And Faith, I hope you've been doing your homework. It asks, true, false? Every childhood vaccine has been tested for safety. I'm suspicious. 96% of our audience say that that's false. 3% say it's true, and 1% said not true. And I don't think I've seen that in a true-false question. By the way, you will not win the suitcase full of diamonds by saying not sure. So just keep that in mind. So, Doc, what do you think?
It's true, Steve.
It's true.
So we know the science is settled. So we can move on to another topic. But there's a caveat to this, Steve. All of these vaccines for children get safety studies, absolutely, positively. And this is the argument that people will keep pushing. But then if you bring up this one little piece of information that comes next, which is, are these safety studies done differently than other research and studies? And the answer is yes. So the method at which they do these safety studies are very different. Typically, when you do research, you're studying something compared to a placebo that doesn't have something active, like if you compare it to a sugar pill or saline solution, right? But that's not how they test children vaccines. They test an active vaccine to another active vaccine. Their justification is, it's going to be harmful if we don't. We have to give these kids vaccines, so we can't do that. Cannot do that. Well, right there, Steve, if I were to test whiskey, against water, I'd probably find liver damage, high liver enzymes, cirrhosis of the liver, right? Alzheimer's. And so you can clearly see the side effects. But if I were to test whiskey to rum, I might not see too much of a difference. They both have side effects. So with vaccines, they're looking at the relative differences. And because whiskey is no more safe than bourbon, they can say it's safe. That's how they do it, Steve. I'm not kidding. So just like comparing Coke to Pepsi, they're both create jittery. So one is not any more dangerous than the other, so they're safe. That's how they're doing it, Steve. That's the loophole.
Well, that is dastardly, I think. Here's the next question, by the way, number 4.
Okay. How do ultra-processed foods destroy the mitochondria? That's the energy factory in our cells.
Okay, audience, I expect the best from you on that. And let's go back to the audience. And this is Jania, I think, from Rumble. Does kale lose its nutrients when cooked as kale chips. Is there anything left of kale in their kale chips?
A little bit, a little bit. There's still some nutrition in there, depending on how much heat, because there's enzymes that are destroyed. I'm guessing you're not freeze drying, you're dehydrating. So you're going to lose some of the potency there. I don't know how much, but there's still some nutrition in there. But I used to really tell people to eat a lot of kale. In fact, Steve, I think I was trying to get you to do the contest, all you can eat kale contest, but you decided not to do that because you didn't think that was a good idea. So I agreed with you finally. But yeah, kale is, I kind of moved on from kale, Steve.
Yeah, it's a little tough. I mean, death might be easier from starvation than trying to maintain that. All right, let's go to Gary Catala, and this is a straightforward question. Can fasting extend your life?
1,000%. Yes. When you fast, you mimic the early development of men or women, and you're literally triggering hundreds, if not thousands, of genes to survive better. I mean, it is amazing what fasting can do at every level, from your brain, for your immune system, to your digestive system, to your mood, to your longevity genes. There's a gene called FOXO3. This is a longevity gene. You are directly triggering that gene. Some people, if they're lucky enough, have kind of a stronger version of that gene, and they're usually in Okinawa and Sardinia. If you have those genes, you have like a 2.7 or 2.5 to 2.7 times more likely to live longer, up in 95 to over 100. So guess what? Let's say you don't have those genes. You can still activate them with prolonged fasting.
Wow, cool. Let's go to Roti. Any root cause remedies for lichens planus on the legs of a 65-year-old woman?
I would cut out any and all refined sugars and starches, because that can feed this microorganism that's growing on there. And I would also maybe use some diluted tea tree oil topically, and maybe even take orally a little bit more iodine, because that also has been shown to improve it as well.
All right, very good. V-Art from YouTube. My daughter does not have a gallbladder like so many. Would Tutka help her?
Yeah, because now you don't have a place where your bile is concentrated, and now we have a weaker bile, which now we have a weaker ability to extract fat-soluble vitamins, and then we have also a weaker ability to extract and break down fats in general, including the extraction of omega-3 fatty acids from the foods. So, and when you don't have this enough bile, it can also make you more susceptible to getting SIBO, because one of the purposes of bile is to kind of clean out the small intestine of microbes, because we don't want microbes in the small intestine to any large degree. We want to clean those out, or else we develop SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So Tutka is one way to help clean the pipes out, so to speak, and it increases the flow of bile. I would take it on an empty stomach.
All right, very good. Rockstar 13 from Rumble. How often should people eat organ meats like grass-fed beef liver while on the carnivore diet? I think that's a good question.
Once or twice a week.
You can still, I mean, if you get ground beef, are you okay? Is that carnivore? I mean, you know.
You said organ meat, Steve, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're correct. But in general, to expand on that, if you're on carnivore, does it count to eat, ground hamburger meat, or should you be sticking with some sort of solid steak, or is it
No. Ground hamburger is totally fine. Any parts you should eat nose to tail, Steve.
Interesting.
Eat the nose and the tail.
Right.
And everything between.
Or that horrible little thing you described on the top of the rooster, that chewy red
the
mess.
rooster collar. They're very delicious if they're sauteed.
Oh my God. Tara from YouTube, is healthy keto okay for someone going through menopause?
Well, because it starts with men, a pause. No, yeah, it's totally fine. I would do it because what's the other alternative? To increase your carbs? No, I would do it. You might have a higher cortisol running through menopause. And so you want to do things like ashwagandha, magnesium, low stress type things. But one thing you don't want to do is avoid cholesterol, because that is the raw material for so many of these hormones that you might need more help with, including estrogen. So, because now the ovaries are not producing them to any large degree, you have a backup organ called the adrenals. So we need to support the adrenals during menopause. Keto is one way to do it, especially if you're doing the healthy version of it.
All right, very good. Let's go to our fourth quiz question, which is, how do ultra-processed foods destroy our all-important mitochondria? And 75% of our audience said it's oxidation, 20% say glycation, and 5% of our respondents says it depletes vitamin B1.
Okay, I want to show you something, Steve. So we have this thing here. This is called the cell. Inside the cell, you have these little things called mitochondria, and they look like a bacteria because they originally actually were a bacteria. And somehow long ago, there was an arrangement made, and the bacteria said, "I'll tell you what, I'll be responsible for the energy. You just give me a house to live in." And it's kind of a specialized thing in our body that just is dedicated to producing energy for you. And so food comes in there, and it's not the calories that we need. We need the electrons from those calories. And these are energy particles that are extracted on an assembly line. Part of the mitochondria is all chemical biochemistry. And then the other part is more physics, where you're dealing with how we make energy. And it's actually quite fascinating. I'm going to release a video on this. But you're extracting these electrons from food for a purpose of building up a dam or a gradient of higher pressure to lower pressure. And I'm not going to get more deep into that, which basically creates kind of like a dam which has pressure, and then you have a turbine engine right in that little membrane there between the high concentration, low concentration. That turbine is called ATP synthase, which is an enzyme that literally spins 9,000 times a minute. That's like, it's a motor. It's one of the most amazing, it's the world's smallest rotary motors. And it's a turbine. And it's almost as fast as a jet engine. And it's spinning. And it's making something called ATP, which is basically an energy currency in our body. So come full circle, when you eat food that is already broken down, refined sugar, refined flour, starches, the amount of electrons now that are like, there's no more breaking things down. You're just like overloading this machine with chaos and free radical damage. It's like a bull in a china shop, and it's like literally creating holes and damage and inflammation and all that. And on top of that, this refined food doesn't have vitamins and minerals that are needed for literally every single step of this assembly line machine. So now you don't have enough magnesium, B1, zinc. Oh my gosh, the entire machine breaks down and it gets broken. And this is really what's behind metabolic inflexibility or damage or syndrome and all the different diseases, diabetes, Alzheimer's, heart disease. And so then the seed oils embed into that little membrane that separates this high and low concentration. So now we don't get, that dam doesn't work. And so the damn rotary motor doesn't work. So now we basically, and which is dependent on magnesium, by the way. So if you're missing magnesium, you can't make energy. This is why when you eat junk food, you get tired and your mitochondria is shutting down. So maybe this might inspire some people to think twice before they eat that donut, Steve, or the jelly.
Or the chocolate cake with white icing, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
can I have you do something on behalf of our audience and ask and answer this question so that I can finish up with some social media questions that I couldn't get to?
Yeah. What's better, consuming phytonutrient supplements daily or intermittently? So I'm talking about resveratrol, talking about quercetin. There's a lot of supplements out there that people take, even turmeric, curcumin, basically, and they're taking them on a daily basis. Realize that one of the things that these compounds are, they're a bit of a pesticide, so they're a protective mechanism, and so you probably will find better results if you don't take them consistently every single day. Instead, take them every other day, just like you would do intermittent fasting. You might find some better results and switch it up instead of like too much of it, because it's the key of this whole thing is intermittent everything, intermittent fasting, intermittent cold therapy. You're not going to sit in a cold bath for 24 hours, right? Intermittent heat therapy, intermittent exercise. As long as you're, because we're stimulating and then we're letting our body adapt. Same thing with the phytonutrients. So you might want to try it and then just not eat that for a day or consume it and then go back to it. You may find better results with that, Steve.
Wonderful. Well, Lizia Dixon has been patient today with her question, which asks, should men take collagen supplements?
Yes, I think so, because the problem with collagen from your diet is if you're just eating like meat and things like that, you have lower amounts of collagen. Like 30% of all of our protein is collagen. So unless you're doing bone broth or maybe even the pork rinds or the skin on the chicken or the fish or the gristle or the chicken cartilage, you might be deficient. So it is good to substitute with collagen. That's just my personal opinion, Steve.
All right, very good. Well, that's worth a lot within our audience and myself personally. Living creatively, how to help a frozen shoulder. And can you describe what a frozen shoulder is?
Yeah, you can't lift up your shoulder. It's just frozen. It's like all the fascia has become like you have adhesions in the shoulder. I've dealt with this. Also, I've dealt with another condition called torticollis, where your neck is stuck down here. What you can do is you can do realize that fascia is not just on the shoulder. It's like up into the neck. It's down into the back. So you have to do more of a fascial stretch on that, and then really, really work it slowly over a period of time against resistance, slowly. And I should probably do a video on that. But I never had a frozen shoulder, but I had people come in the clinic, and it takes a bit of time to get it back. Sometimes it's like, okay, we got 20% improvement. Okay, and then maybe 10%, and then another 20%. So it's a slow improvement, but you want to keep motion in there.
All right, very good. Let's go to Keto Mama. What can I do for a pain in the middle of my butt cheek? Ouch.
Are you telling us you're a pain in the butt? Yeah, I think it sounds like it could be sciatica. You also have the piriformis, the muscle in there. So what you can do is, let's say the pain is in the right butt cheek. Massage or sit on like a tennis ball on the opposite mirror image side, so you can stimulate the muscle on the opposite side. It could be the piriformis, or it could be one of the glutes, and find the spot that's twice as tender, and that will usually relieve the pain in your right butt cheek. Yeah, just try it. It'll work.
Okay, we have time for one more. Linda Joe from YouTube. Which supplements are best to clear our arteries? Or are there some?
So, of course, low-carb diet, but vitamin K2 is one of the better ones to help. You also have nattokinase, which is another thing that people take, and then magnesium is very important and then vitamin D.
All right, very good. Well, guess what? We're out of time. It's been a glorious show. Any final parting words for our audience?
stay tuned for more very interesting videos. I'm releasing this next week. Thank you for watching this long. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend.